Good morning, and welcome. Good morning, and welcome to this Memorial Day weekend service. My name is Paul Endo, and I will be your chairperson for this morning. Before we begin this morning's service, just a reminder that there is to be no food or drink in the hondo. And also, please, if you have a cell phone, please turn it to silent or turn it off for the service. Do we have any people here who are here for the first time? Oh, good. Repeat customers. Well, welcome back, everyone. We will begin this morning's service with Sambujo on page 24 of the large service book, followed by sutra chanting Sanbutsuge on page 22 in the small book, and also on page 79 in the large book.
Namanda, 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 namanda. Namanda, 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 Namanda.
Please rise now for the Gatha, Amida Shrine on page 34 in the small Dharma service book. Please remain standing for the three treasures on page 3 of the same small service Dharma service book.
Each morning I will wake to sing Amida's way, so good and kind. I think he says, "Good morning, child." He's glad to start it with me. Each morning before I go to bed, I sit before Amida's shrine with pretty flowers, candle night, and incense curling on my head. I bow my head, I cross my hands, and thank Buddha with all my mind for teachings that will bring truth's light to many folks in many lands. Okay, please remain standing for the reading of Three Treasures, which is located on that page 3 on the same book. Three Treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be free from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into yourselves the principle of latent enlightenment and awaken ourselves our spring will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gaze wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become unit through true accord, your life and harmony, in a spiritual universal oneness, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages and myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us solely understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Okay, thank you. Please be seated. Namanda Butsu. Namanda.
And now we'll have a Dharma message from Minister's Assistant Sumi Tanabe.
Good morning. How are you doing today? Good. Well, you know this is a 3-day weekend for memorial service, right? So let's take a brief moment to bow our heads and to reflect upon the many men and women, particularly those who have made the supreme sacrifice. Thank you. Now join me in Kansho. Open the heart, the eyes of the mind, and break through the darkness of ignorance. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. How many of you are familiar with this book? Michael. This was written back in 1990s by Reverend Dr. Ronald Nakasone, who served at this temple. He served from 1983 to 1986. He is married to Irene, and they have one daughter, Heather. How many of you remember Dr. Nakasone? Okay. He was young when he was here, right? His studies have taken him to Kyoto, to Madison, Wisconsin, and Cambridge, Massachusetts. He is on the faculty of the Graduate Theological Union and was a faculty member with IBS. His family still lives in Fremont, and he still teaches at IBS. He wrote a book titled Ethics of Enlightenment. He wrote about ethical conduct and the common concerns that we all have. His words are still true today. Reverend Nakasone wrote about diverse essays about real people and their compassion. In 1980, Peter Von Pond, a graduate student at Yale Divinity School, labored to restore Cambodian traditions by building a Buddhist temple for 35,000 dispirited Cambodian refugees on the Thai border. The Thai military decided to push back the refugees from camp, but Peter and a Buddhist monk declared the camp a temple sanctuary. Thousands of Cambodians gather in the temple and refuse to go back. Thai military were infuriated but respectful of the spiritual defiance in the name of Buddha, so they did not return the refugees to almost death. These acts of compassion demonstrate the Bodhisattva Dhammakarta vow. Another essay is the story of Black Elk, a Oglala Sioux warrior and medicine man. Black Elk stood on the highest part of the Dakotas as the center of the world, but he added anywhere is the center of the world. Siddhartha can claim that he alone in heaven and earth in the same spirit that Black Elk declared he stood in the center of the world. Each declared a belief in the importance of every individual. Black Elk's vision projected that belief that all beings must live in harmony with others and one living body. The belief that anywhere is the center of the world is the idea of interdependence. In another chapter, the essay was about a man who planted trees and grew hope. To me, the story was especially moving. It is a story from writer Jean Giono. Giono wrote about the accomplishment of Elia Buffet, who was a poor and uneducated shepherd. He spent the last 34 years of his life planting trees. By transforming a harsh land into a forest, he instilled hope and grew happiness for thousands of people. Giono met Buffet one day and learned that he had been planting 100 acorns a day for the last 3 years. Imagine that, 100 acorns a day. He had planted 10,000 acres and 20,000 had sprouted. He expected to lose half, but the 10,000 oak tree grew where nothing had grown before. The shepherd was once a farmer. He lost his only child and then his wife. The land was dying for want of trees, and he resolved to revitalize the barren landscape. He planted trees on land, not his own, nor was he interested in whose land he planted. He just kept planting and planting. The writer years later from Buffet changed his occupation to a beekeeper because his sheep damaged his sapling. The trees were close to 10 feet tall. In 1935, he found the trees grew to 20 to 25 feet tall. Water began to flow in the stream that had been dry for many, many years. With water, the land blossomed. Buffet's efforts not only transformed the land, but he brought hope. In the nearby village, ruins had been cleared, houses restored, and gardens planted. Buffet's action and the effects can still be seen today. The karmic energy of an act once committed never ever vanishes. The karmic energy by a single individual can alter future events and touch many, many lives. The story of one man armed with only his moral and physical resources and by simply planting trees could transform a barren countryside into renewed vigor and purpose. One individual did make a difference just by planting trees. How about you or someone you know? Can you think about a time when you try your best to leave as little of yourself in order to leave our earth better than when we found it? Last year, the month we celebrate Earth Day by participating in various activities. We know some individuals within our own Sangha who make a difference by conserving energy like water, recycling food and materials, planting trees that require little water, and transforming their yards from grass to rocks and mulch. I resolved to buy food not in plastic, but in things that can be recycled. I also am eating less meat and more vegetable, and am encouraged neighbors to donate fruits from the trees rather than let them fall to the ground to the food banks. With the help from my daughters, I have donated bags of usable clothing and shoes to the Salvation Army and Goodwill. There are countless little things we can do to help our earth and the environment. We can begin every day with awareness of what we are doing. We can practice mindfulness. you too can make a difference, not only for yourself, but for our next generation and for all living things. Please join me in Kansho. May we all in thanksgiving dedicate ourselves to the ideals as laid down by our teachers and masters. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Sumi, for that wonderful Dharma message. I remember Reverend Nakasono, but I didn't know he had a first name. I was in Sunday school, and everyone was just Reverend this or Sensei that. But yes, for this Memorial Day, hopefully we can all spend the time to remember people who may have moved on. I know that's not just military, but just in general. And maybe they'll inspire you for some way that they've made a difference or changed one small part of the world. Please now rise for the Gatha Ondokusan II. It's on page 76 in the small Dharma service book.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated.
Are there any announcements at this time? No. This is probably a first. Okay then. Well then, thank you. I'd like to thank Reverend Mikame, Reverend Jones, Minister's Assistants Dennis Akizuki and Sumi Tanabe, as well as our organist Elaine Jones and our AV technician Steve Onishi. That will complete this morning's service. Thank you everyone for taking this time to join us. Please come up and do offer incense and drive safely on your way home. Thank you.